All right,
Hey,
I'm
good
ready.
morning, everybody. Welcome to We Have Something to Say with Kenneth Lively and Leonard Watkins. I'm gonna start off the show with something. First of all, last night I watched a 41-year-old man play a bunch of 20-something-year-old people. A 41-year-old man named LeBron James play a game last night that for a 41-year-old to be the best player on the court, 41 to do what he did last night. For anybody, whatever you got to say about LeBron James, you can shut the fuck up. Dude is just a beast. Dude, George never done what LeBron James did last night. 41 ever.
You right.
Now he Kenneth, like he was about to fall out after the game. The commentator asked him, "How you feel?" He said, "I feel awful." He said, "Physically, I feel awful."
You told true, shoot.
Which was a true statement from a 41-year-old. Play tomorrow because if you watch the game, the last 4 minutes of the game, he was walking up. When I say walking, he was literally walking up the court like, okay, man, you know what? Enough of this. Look, somebody win the game because I got to go home and go to bed.
Lucky he ain't got to play today.
We can start this all over again after the fact. But yeah, if he had to play today, I promise you, he'd be a scratch.
Oh yeah, he would. He wouldn't play. No way in hell he'd play back to back.
Man, to watch, to be a freak of nature, what he did last night was I just had to say it, man, because I look, he rep for the 40-year-old, for people over 40, because last night it was like, oh, this is a 40-year-old man playing like this. Oh my God. So yeah, I just had to come on. I had to give him some public props. And Kenneth just let me know that he came on here and said, "Why you let your wife embarrass you on Facebook?" Because I guess she posted a video of her making of this function we had to go to that I had to give a short speech, and she I guess she bet the people on camera that I would come in and pick the outfit, the green outfit, as opposed to the colorful outfit. And I walked right in the green outfit. I sure did. I knew what I like her this year in and what I done and the other stuff that I don't.
Hold on. The crazy
Don't
thing
like.
is you were in the camera and you were like right in front of the camera doing this. That's the funny thing. The camera was set right up in your face and you didn't even know this camera was on. We got it the latest morning.
Kenneth, I literally jumped to that camera on purpose because
so you didn't know it was
called
on.
My name. It was running slow. There sometimes straight. Yeah. I did that on purpose. I did it on purpose. She called. I was in there doing something else, not a non-consequence. She was like, "Cut like right now." It was on. So it came in. She was like, "You on camera?"
Okay. So she like, did. Okay. All right.
So just lean into it. Might as well help.
That's a good thing.
You brought me in here. Might as well lean into it.
That's a good thing. Y'all having fun with it. Y'all been married so long. Y'all having fun with it.
Yeah, told me hey man, she gonna put me on camera regardless of whether I get pushed or not. It can't. She's gonna put me on camera regardless of whether I have to get permission or not.
This is true.
You know how you and I say she need all of this on camera to get her views up.
To boost her viewership. Make things better for her. Get more viewers when I'm on camera. I think that sounds about right. Oh man. So what are we gonna talk about today, man? What's on your mind today? What's on your mind today, brother?
So look, let me say this to everybody. Sometimes when you all come on, the streaming service you use is like a lot of other streaming services. If they have a lot of users using their platform, sometimes they can get overloaded. Sometimes it's not even us. You know, when we have full signals, it's literally the platform, and we really don't have a lot of control over that. So I just want to show you what I want to talk subject we don't talk about that much in the Black community, but and how it directly affects us. So I found this young attorney, Black female attorney out of Philly, and it's Palestine and Gaza and how it affects us. And I also want to know what is, I mean, I know what anti-Semitism is, but this thing that Zionists are using to cloak everybody as anti-Semitic, when we criticize the government of Israel, we criticize some of the images we see come out of Israel, to the point where you haven't seen Tanya Coates a lot since that. Good morning, Stacey. Since time she Coates got on CBS Morning News and literally called out the apartheid system in Israel. At what point do we not let that bother us anymore? And then a bigger question for me to you is, and to Stacey is, what constitutes racism and what constitutes legitimate criticism of behavior that we consider abhorrent? You know, and why are we, and why have we put ourselves in a position that we don't feel the need to criticize the Israeli government and any behavior by Jews or anybody else, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Hindu, without being tagged as somebody who hates that particular group of people?
Well, I'll say this. That phrase, so I just anti-Semitism.
Get your perspective on that, because
I was going to say this. That phrase, anti-Semitism, one, is being overused and used incorrectly, in my opinion, because they, as you said, anytime somebody criticizes Israel, that's considered. They try to paint that as anti-Semitism to shut them up, and it's like even on the college campuses last year when students were protesting against the Israel.
They be blocking us.
Say what? Man, this thing is like delayed or something for real. It's ridiculous. But anyway, they're talking about
messing with our algorithm.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, they painted it as being anti-Semitism when all they're doing is protesting genocide. So what does one have to do with the other? It's nothing. Nothing has to do with it. If we can call people can call when they say well, let's say if they can call the killing of Christians in whatever country they were saying that they I think it was Nigeria or something like that. Oh, they killing all the Christians there or something like that. If they can say that's genocide, why can't we say that what the Jews, the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians? Why can't we call that genocide? That's the thing that bothers me. It's like they have co-opted that phrase and use it anytime somebody criticizes Israel, which one has nothing to do with the other. It's two totally different things. And as you said, it's the Zionists, the extreme right of the Israeli government or the Israeli of the Jewish community, the extreme right of them. That's what they think. Everything against Israel is considered anti-Semitism in their opinion. And the rest of us fall into that trap. I shouldn't say us, but us in general, the larger community, American community, falls into that trap every time. And next thing you know, they're trying to cancel somebody because they're being anti-Semitic on those college campuses. They were not protesting Jews. They were protesting Israel. Jews just happen to live in Israel. Christians live in Israel. So is it anti-Christian to criticize Israel for doing what they're doing in Palestine? Is that anti-Christian? No. So how is it anti-Semitic? So the two go hand in hand. This exact same thing on both sides. And Muslims live in Israel too. So is it anti-Muslim? That whole dynamic is them controlling the narrative. And unfortunately, we allow them to do that. We don't push back on it. And nobody calls, as they say, a spade a spade. They don't call it for what it is, bullshit. As Stacy just said. Well, she said BS, but I'm going to say the word bullshit. They don't call it for that. We just allow it to happen. And next thing you know, so-and-so is framed as anti-Semitic when they didn't say anything that was against Jews. They said something against Israel. And it also goes back to, as I've said so many times, a lot of the issues, majority of the issues that go on in the Middle East are because of Israel. Point blank. They always bring it back to, well, they want to destroy us. Well, if y'all wouldn't stop taking people's territory and killing people willy-nilly, then maybe they would not want to destroy you. It's all hand in hand. One thing creates the other. You start killing people, they say they hate you, then you start killing people, killing more people. It goes back and forth. You can't stop people from hating you if you keep killing them or killing their people. That's not going to happen. It's a cyclical thing. Or it's not. I don't know if I'm use that phrase correctly, but it's a circular firing squad. You do something, I do something. You do something, I do something. I do something, you do something. It goes back and forth, and in the end, nobody ever wins. There is no end to this until they stop doing what they're doing. Like they still want to bomb Lebanon. Trump and his dumb ass, who started all this bullshit,
which is nuts.
Right. They want to end.
They're
he wants to end this thing with Iran.
The same thing in Lebanon that you did in Gaza.
Yeah. They want to end this stuff. Trump wants to end this war or whatever they want to call it today. And I do say today because they change it from day to day. They want to. He wants to end that. But Iran is like, hey, you can't stop nothing until Israel stops bombing Lebanon. And Israel is like, no, we're not going to stop bombing Lebanon. So this thing is going to keep going back. It's going to keep going around. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. You don't think that people are, they really and truly believe. And also, too, and this is the thing. They announced this the other day that they were talking about how the so many, I think 70 Democrats or something like that voted against sending and some Republicans voted against sending additional arms 85 additional arms to Israel. Now they're trying to frame that as, oh, first of all, Israel, of course, the Zionists gonna say, oh, they anti-Semitic and all that, even though they have voted for so many times to give Israel funds and weapons and all this other stuff. They said, we're not doing it this time because y'all need to stop this. Somebody finally they got a set of balls and said, you need to stop this. But what that demonstrates is the American public is tired of this because they keep drawing us into their bullshit. They're drawing us into their bullshit. And everybody knows that Trump's bitch ass is the only reason he got involved with Iran was because Israel told him to. He got his head so far up Netanyahu's ass that every time he shits, both of them shit. That's how far his head is. And that's the reason why we're in this thing. Because of them, because it has nothing to do with nuclear weapons. It has nothing to do with Iran getting possibly getting a nuclear weapon. They've been possibly getting 1 week or 2 weeks away from getting nuclear weapons for the last 20 goddamn years, and they still ain't got none. It don't take that damn long to enrich uranium to turn it into a nuclear weapon. It doesn't take that damn long. Either they got it or they don't got it. And all these people, these quote unquote rogue countries that have nuclear weapons and all that shit, well, the only goddamn country that's ever used a nuclear weapon is the United States. So who's the rogue country? Who is the rogue country? Us. We're the only ones that ever used it and didn't need to use it then. We didn't need to use it then. So how is everybody else?
Which is amazing.
We're not. See what now?
Stacy says, I day trade. This is all about money. Shoot, well, me and Kenneth need a loan.
Brother out, Stacy.
What you just said is yeah, the gaslighting, two things. The gaslighting is unbelievable. The systems they set up to gaslight and to use the Goebbels effect. And the Goebbels effect for World War II is if you keep repeating it and you get it on enough, you will train the brain to believe it. And then you have people like us that are going, no, hell no, I know right from wrong. Like Stacey said, I know you don't go and double tap a damn school. I know that you of little girls. I know that that's just a form of terrorism. That's all that was. I tell people all the time. Me and my nephew have been arguing about this. He goes, it was a mistake. And my thing to him was, the administration has no credibility. I saw a soldier yesterday.
How do you make the same mistake twice? How you double tap? If you do, that's not a mistake.
But Kenneth, let's say hypothetically it was a mistake. I don't believe you. You don't have no credibility. That's your problem. Your problem is you have no credibility. Your problem you have vets out there saying they don't believe you. And at what point did we never believe Obama? We always believed Obama was trying to do the right thing. We didn't say he always did, but we didn't go into it thinking that you were insidious, evil SOB the way Netanyahu and his right-wing administration. Netanyahu's administration is purely racist. That's just that there's no disputing that. And yes, they're manipulating the hell out of the stock market. Ain't no doubt that they manipulate. But at what, the question becomes, here, let me add my second part. What they're doing over there, they will do over here in New York. And I'm not just about to give you a pass, nor would I want one. I'm not going to give you a pass just because you're Jewish. And I don't want a pass just because I'm black. Or I'm African American. Call me on my shit. I need to stop doing whatever it is that I'm fucking doing. I need to at least make a good faith effort. But to sit there and to destroy Lebanon, they're destroying Lebanon because they want a fractured state, and they're willing to kill. They have determined the amount of casualties they're willing to accept in order to get their way.
Oh, what you mean? What they're willing? They'll accept all of them. They don't give a damn if none of them live. Let's be real. The way that they're doing things, they're not surgically striking them because they always use the same excuse. Oh, that was a hideout. Well, the same what they use in Gaza. Oh, that was Hamas hideout underneath the school, or underneath the church, or underneath the hospital. They using the exact same excuse in Lebanon. Oh, that's a Hezbollah hideout underneath that hospital, or underneath that school, underneath that church, or in that neighborhood. There are no weapons over there, but no military thing over there. But that's where they're hiding weapons in there. Now, what kind of weapons can you hide in a residential neighborhood that can send a missile from Lebanon into Israel? What kind of weapons could you be hiding? Only small arms. Maybe. I mean, you hide some shoulder. Shoulder? Shoulder. The missiles that you can send from a shoulder. But those things are so small, they can't do much damage, and they won't be able to get through the iron shield anyway. So why are we sitting here? Allowing that shit to happen and that like it's legitimate? These are legitimate targets. These are legitimate strikes that they're doing, and they're not, because they're not. And people are finally waking up to the shit that that Israel is doing this shit because they want to do. And as Stacey said, they are manipulating the market because every time Trump, good morning, Angie. Every time Trump says, "Oh, we're going to open up the strait," or we're going to do something with the strait and all that, the stock market rises. And everybody sees what it is, bullshit. Like how this is the crazy shit that going on that I see. Well, all of it's crazy. But the thing that got me the other day, or when he did this, he said we're going to close the strait. We're going to close the strait to any ship. Now, Iran has already closed the strait. They already told people, listen, those companies, you want to get through here, pay us a couple of $1 million or however $1 million they say here. And the companies are willing to make it. They're willing to pay it because they're making billions of dollars. So if I got to pay you $2 million to get through there, to get my my 500 million through, shit, I just have 498 million. They don't care. They'll pay it. That's the price of doing business. Just like back in the day when those people had to pay protection money to the mob and all that. Hey, that was the price of doing business. It may not be right, but at least my business is still open. Now, then Trump turns around and said, we want to blockade the strait. We're going to blockade the strait. Now, why would you blockade a place that's already being blockaded? That don't make no goddamn sense. So now you got Iran saying ain't nobody getting through. And now you saying ain't nobody getting through. It's the same goddamn effect. It's the same effect. There is no difference. No ships are getting through. And in the end, the crazy thing is, in the end, Iran is going to win. They're going to win the big penis contest. They're going to win that contest. They're going to win. Because there's no way you're going to force them. The United States is going to force them to open up that strait. That's not going to happen. There's nothing they could do. They could bomb that entire country every day 1,000 times, and they still won't open that strait. It's not going to happen. Because the only way they're going to be able to open the strait is to actually send ships in there and put sailors in harm's way for this shit, when all they got to do is move the damn ships out the way. And Americans aren't going for that bullshit. They ain't going for it. They're not going to go for it. Because the only way to do it is to put American lives in jeopardy for something that all you got to do is just let them damn ships go. And Iran is playing the long game. As I said before, Iran is playing chess. Trump bitch ass is playing checkers. Matter of fact, that motherfucker ain't even playing checkers. He playing spades. He ain't even playing the right game. Nowhere near the right game. Playing something totally different. And if he had somebody in his administration that had an ounce of sense, they would have known this was going to happen. Common sense would tell you this is going to happen. You got somebody that controls 80% of the world's, what is it? Is it 80%? That has control of
20%.
20% of the world's oil comes through that one little strait.
It's a big deal.
That one little area. 20% of the world's oil. They control that. You got to go through us. Now, before we would let y'all go through for free, and we wasn't charging you a damn thing. But since Trump want to be an asswipe, we're gonna show you how it goes. We're gonna play our game now. And they don't have to use one damn bomb. They don't have to bomb anybody. They don't have to kill anybody. They ain't got to do shit. All they got to do is tell them we got mines in that damn strait, and we know where they are, and y'all don't.
Right, and that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to use mines to claim the strait. They're trying, and they just have to do the threat. The price tag on it, when we look off what we're talking about, the price tag on it is $5 million. Lloyd's London is charging a $5 million premium on your insurance in addition to what you're paying. Then Iran is saying that you're going to pay us $20 million. So you already at $25 extra million. They were at 20 minutes. Right. They're at $20 million.
Okay, well, $20 million. But still,
the
companies are willing to pay that. They're willing to pay it.
Right, they're gonna have to pay it, and
so they make hundreds of millions of dollars off that one tanker. So of course they're willing to pay, and they got millions of not millions, hundreds of these damn tankers. They're willing to pay that shit. They ain't losing nothing. But the thing is,
the question is, why are we being led by a obviously racist government?
Because we got a racist in office. We have a racist in office. That's why he's there. He's not there. Let's keep it 100. Trump is not there to help the American people. He's there to help himself and his buddies that are billionaires and Russia and Israel. That's who he's to help. That's it. He's not there to help us. He don't give a shit about us. I mean, if he was America first, as he that lie he's
You're
been
right. It's
telling
$2
for
million
years.
as of April 2026.
Okay, 2 million. That's $2 million. If he was really about helping the American people, like he said he is, we wouldn't be in this war. We wouldn't have. There's a lot of things we wouldn't have. He wouldn't have put those tariffs on. I don't give a damn how pro-tariff you are. You realize that that's detrimental to the American economy, to the world's economy, and you still go ahead and do it and keep doing it and keep taking them off, put them back on, take them off, put them back on, depending on which way, whether or not you shit your diaper that day or not, that piss you off, all that type bullshit, some simple shit that changes your mind, and you manipulating the market, as Stacey said, and then you turn around and the market goes up, then you do some other stupid shit to make the market go down, which makes our 401k and all of those things that we have invested in the market go down. We losing money, and then we're paying more money at the pumps, paying more money in the grocery store, paying more money in the stores, period, and all this and all that. If you were America first, you wouldn't be doing that bullshit. You wouldn't be doing it. Because common sense would tell you, if I charge them more money to import goods into our country, that they're not going to, companies aren't going to absorb that. We're going to pay more at the register, period. And people have told him that, but he don't want to hear it. Well, people outside of his administration have said that, but he doesn't want to hear it. He only listens to the dumbasses that work with him. And I hope all the motherfuckers get a chronic case of anal itch. Ain't none of them shit. All of this shit. It's ridiculous. I do. I damn near pray for that. I'm this close to praying for that man to get a chronic case of anal itch, to the point where he just cries every day. I just want it to happen. I want it to happen. Let him feel that shit. Let him get some real stuff for 3 damn weeks. See some real pain, some real irritation. Let him feel it for 3 damn weeks. That'll change his whole goddamn mindset. But I digress. Go ahead, sir. Then you still there?
I want to pivot to something that we were talking about last week, because I think it needs to be talked about more. And the reason I want to pivot is because this week, for some reason, I've really been hyper focused on social media when I'm on there, and on women's pages, women who've been complaining about, particularly African American women who've not complained, it's not complaint, who've been pleading for African American men to step up more, to give African American women and children a safe place to operate, and what it means. And what has been amazing to me, Kenneth, is how many men get on women's pages and body shame, particularly African American men, and women's thoughts. It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's like you and I know, hey man, if I disagree with you, I can always just go to another post, right? But you have these dudes who will come on and say the most misogynistic, chauvinistic shit, just downright weird. And many times you come there, if they're brave enough to put on, it's American men. It is so weird how men try to police women's thoughts and their bodies. It's weird. To me, it's just weird, because I'm always thinking, we just got off this page. Like, what was the need for you to get on here and do a whole soliloquy about what this woman's thinking? And they'll come and go, well, she made it public. That's not the point, whether she made it public. The point is you turn to personal insults and because you don't have the intellect. It is, and I've seen it before, but I guess the week before was so traumatic for our community, because it seemed the biggest thing I've ever seen. And I had to ask myself, somebody says only 1%, right? I've seen that post number of times. It's only 1%, which y'all. But if you start breaking numbers, if you can get an accurate number, you're still talking about hundreds of thousands of acts of bullyism, people bully men, bullying women, and men not taking any responsibility for the environment that we've allowed. I don't want to say created, because bottom line is it's hard for a whole bunch of environments to say we blame for we created those environments. We damn sure allowed it to fester and not say, hey, bro, that shit you saying ain't acceptable. It's not acceptable. You know, you her disagreeing or having a post and you disagreeing you don't have to body shame or even come on here aggressive. And I watched it on a bunch of, it was surprising to even see it on Morehouse Spellman pages, because you would think some of the brothers are way more enlightened. It's like, man, it's one thing to have a strong opinion. It's another thing to start thinking that you're smarter because you're a male. It's just been the weirdest thing to me. Just weird. And I'm starting to wonder, have I not really been paying attention to it in my own circles? Because, you know, I'm quick to call out somebody that says some bullshit in my circles. And I'm known for that in the New York heartbeat. But I just, you know, do y'all have an opinion about that? It's just weird. Or Stacey and Angie, have y'all experienced that? Or do you know girlfriends that experience? I mean, help enlighten us. Help teach us what you're looking for, what makes you feel safe, or what constitutes for African American women, or you too, because you don't. I'm sure you say I don't speak for all of them. What constitutes feeling safe, and what makes you feel safe when you're around us, per se? Or is that a question that could be answered? And what's your opinion about it, Mr. Lowry?
Well, I don't go on sites like that where at least I try not to. Any social media pages where people do stuff like that. I'm sorry, I lost my oh, there it is. Um, so I don't see the comments, and when I see it, I just leave it. I will say this: I do, from my own perspective, uh, uh, um, you know, my own little circle of influence, and I use my students as my circle of influence. I do, uh, um, you know, try to stamp it out when I hear it, or try to stamp it out when I hear it. And that's from both sides, not just from men, but from women too, you know, because a lot of this, and I'm not trying to equate the two in terms of this, but there's a lot of violence going back and forth between initiated by young ladies, as just as men, not as much as men, but young ladies too. So I stamp it out whenever I see it on both sides, because it inevitably, and I think I told you this story, inevitably nobody wins. So try to tell guy, hey man, you know, the B word, the H word, the bitches and hoes, all that stuff. Stop all that, man. Stop all that. Don't do that, because that's the beginning of it. That is the when you get that mindset, when you think of women in that way, that mindset, you don't see them as women. You see them as possessions. You see them as less than. If you call a woman a bitch or a hoe, that's how you see that woman, and you think less of her. So I try to get them. My thing is get them out of that mindset, because when you have that mindset, at some point you may lose your temper and uh, uh, um, act on that temper, because you don't see her as a full human. You see them as less than. Um, so we have to stop that mindset um, from happening. Now that's not to say we gonna wipe it out 100%, but we can damn sure try our best in our circle of friends, our circle of influence, try to get them to um, step up and move beyond that mindset. And also too, as somebody who's as a cop, as I said, seeing many domestic violence uh, cases with dealing with domestic violence. And I always say this. I always tell the women that I dealt with, because the first thing that I said, when he finally inevitably lays hands on him, I said, he started out by cursing you out first, right? She was like, yeah. I said, then he started grabbing you and shaking you, yeah. And now he's escalated to the point where he's hitting you and threatening to kill you and all. Yeah. That's how it starts. It starts with the disrespect, the calling of the bitch in the hole and cussing out and all that shit and all that. That's where it starts. And as I told them, and one lady said, well, hers has not escalated to violence yet. But I told her, this is the beginning of it, unless you stop it now. You have one or two choices in terms of trying to stop it. You let him know that this is not acceptable, or you leave, because it's not going to get better. So, ladies, and I may be preaching to the choir, to the ladies that are on that watch our show, but your circle of influence, if you have some young lady in your life, or old lady, whoever, that's in an abusive relationship, and he's just cursing her out, and the same goes for men too. Same thing for men. Somebody's cursing you out on a constant basis, that's not somebody you need to be with. Because that's the beginning of the domestic violence. That's not the end of it. That's the beginning. And there's always potential for it to get a lot worse. So tell them, hey, let's just go ahead. Let's find somebody else. And I understand a lot of, in the cases that it was a lot of times it was a financial thing, because the man was the breadwinner. He made more money and so on and so forth and all of that. But is your life worth money? That's what I have to tell. That's what I used to tell people. Is your life worth the money? Because if it gets to the point where he's violent and he kills you, that money ain't gonna make a difference at all. It's not gonna make a difference at all, and your children will be without both parents. So, we have to stamp this down at the beginning. We have when little boys and little girls, when they're little, let's teach them how to treat each other, and two, how to be treated. Period. That's it. If we wait until somebody's an adult, it's kind of hard to change behavior when somebody's an adult. It's very hard to do that. But it's a whole lot easier to change it when they're a child. So that's what we need to do. And Angie said, okay, but and Angie, you're right. You're right.
Financial
there are
abuse
women
is
who,
real.
yeah, it is. The financial abuse, women not feeling they're strong enough to do it, and all of that. Those are legitimate concerns. But is your life worth it? I mean, at some point, you have to say to yourself, enough is enough. And not to demean those women that are in there, because I understand the hardship. I do understand it. It's legitimate. But is your life worth it? Or even if you have the financial means to do it, is the appearance to the world that you have such a beautiful life to the outside world, is it worth it? And yeah, let me leave it at that, because I was gonna say an example, but I'm not gonna say it, because I'm tired of beating that. I'm tired, not beat the dead horse, but I'm tired of putting these people's business out there like that, because they still have children alive. So I'm not gonna do it. But I think we need to, at some point, when you get to your breaking point, you got to go. Now, your breaking point shouldn't be to the point where violence, actual physical violence, is taking place. When it's emotional violence, that should be enough right there. Now, this is coming from me. A man. I take that back. I was gonna say I've never had a domestic violence situation, but I have. Years ago with an ex. Years ago, she tried to, I think I said it on here, she tried to stab me. And that was that right there was enough for me to say, oh no, I don't want to deal with nothing like this. And I had already, it's funny because one of the things that the day she tried to do that, she one of the things that she said to me was, and excuse this language, but I'm gonna say it anyway. She called me a pussy because I wouldn't hit her. Now, how, I guess you maybe psychotic can you be, or whatever the phrase is, that how damaged do you have to be for you to call a man that because he won't hit you? That's crazy, right? But that's how damaged she was. And that's how damaged a lot of people are. They think that violence against them or violence period
I'm trying to
is the only
emasculate
way
you,
they should react.
you know,
Right.
because
Oh
we
yeah. Because it
because
didn't work. It didn't work.
we have those between men. Between men, we have trigger words that will take it to the next level. Just words, you know, they're trigger words for men, with men. If anybody sees those trigger words in action, whether it's on the playground, whether you're somewhere else, you know, like I think one of my guys said, women like that can't appreciate good men. So
right.
when you hear a woman say it, you know, it's a trigger word. You know, if you've been triggered like that, or been in a triggering experience,
Well,
I think most African tell you, hey man, you sliced up and not call me a pussy, you know what? And
well, see,
and,
you know, the funny
it's kind of
thing
like,
is,
okay, now you're gonna have to show me. You definitely don't do it in front of a group of men. Right.
well, see, and this is the thing.
Go ahead.
This is the thing with me. I had previously told her because she had been in an abusive relationship. I already knew about that, Angie. That's why that was her experience. I already knew that. I said I would never do anything like that. That's not who I am as a person. I grew up around somebody who was a victim of domestic violence. So I've always been sensitive to that. Growing up as a kid, you know, growing up to a man, I've always been sensitive to that, to women in those situations. So me doing that, no, I would not go. I would not do that. And I told her that at the beginning of the relationship when she was telling me about what she went through. No, that's not who I am. I don't do that. So she knew that that wasn't who I was as a man, as a person. I don't resort to violence. But that's what she was accustomed to. That's how she felt, that how she was a man showed love to her, in her opinion. And that wasn't me. So she didn't deserve me. That's bottom line. And ladies, and like I said, she tried to kill me. And the funny thing is, this was in 1990. They were just starting to do, law enforcement was just starting to catch up to the whole domestic violence thing. Because remember, prior to that, if a woman called the police and the man, you know, my husband beat me, they would tell the man, hey man, go and walk around the block or go somewhere for the night and come back tomorrow. Y'all discuss this tomorrow. That's what they would tell them. That was law enforcement's point of view on domestic violence. And it started around that time, around 1990, when they started saying, no, we need to arrest the man. If we come out there as a scene and there's whatever violence going on, if she claimed violence and we can see the violence, hey, he got to go. And we'll deal, you know, let the courts deal with it. But he got to go. He got to at least be arrested. And at some point, somebody got to bail him out, or however it's going to come. But they got to go. So this is when this happened, around 1990, when it happened. And when the cop came, she called the cops. She called the cops on me. When the cop came, he told me, well, he was like, well, you just need to, whatever, something he said. And I said, I didn't do anything to her. I said, I don't even know why you're here. I never touched her. He's like, what you mean? I said, I never touched her. As a matter of fact, she tried to stab me, and I showed him cuts on my hand. Now, that's aggravated assault. But he didn't want to do anything because a man could not be a victim of domestic violence back then. So that cycle of violence could continue because the man could never be a victim. And then he said, well, just let her leave. I said, man, that's the reason why we got in this argument to begin with, because I told her to get out of my house. That's why all this started. I never tried to stop her from leaving. Hell, I wanted to leave. Matter of fact, why don't you help her pack her shit up so she can go? That's what I told the man. So the whole thing, this whole situation is the cycle of violence needs to stop when somebody has abusive language. Stop it right then. Nip it in the bud. Tell them, yo, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. And if they continue, then you got to go. That's not the person you need to be with. And I understand it could be, as Stacey said, the financial part of it and all that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I understand that. But at some point, you got to go. It's a situation where you have to say, well, your life is worth more than the financial hardship that you may endure for a while. In addition to drama. Yeah. And Stacey, Angie, that is a situation that goes on now. Too many people in our community are addicted to drama. It's thrown down our throats. It is like I'll say this. I can't stand reality shows because all they do is amplify conflict. And particularly ones like Love and Hip Hop, Real Housewives of Atlanta and all that. All they do is amplify that stuff. And I see it in young girls. So this whole thing, social media, the media period, music, all of that adds fuel to the fire of violence in our community. Domestic violence, regular violence, all of that. When people go from zero to 100 over something that's slight, something that wouldn't even back in the day, wouldn't even constitute somebody raising their voice about, getting upset about. Now they go from 0 to 100. Next thing you know, there's a fight over nothing. After the fight is over, you can't even figure out why the hell after the person, you can't even remember what hell started the fight or the argument. You don't remember. Because as I like to tell people all the time, it ain't that damn deep. It really ain't that deep. Stop getting upset about simple things in life. There's a whole lot of things in life you should be upset about. That ain't one of them. So we need, in order to protect the women and the children in our community, we have to start with having conversations with the men in our circle of influence, especially. Oh damn! What did I do? Damn! What did I do?
Nothing. I hear you. I hear you.
Can you hear me, Leonard? Can you hear me?
You're here.
What the hell did I do?
Yes. 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 I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. Oh Lord, no, the old man then came back and don't know how to work technology on his new computer. So since he trying to figure it out, and then, like Kenneth said, and I've had somebody tell me this before. I don't know if this generation, or particularly men in my generation,
hello,
we can change them. Again, some of the watch. Yeah, StreamYard's having trouble connecting, Kenneth. I remember a friend of mine calling me and asked me to watch Kevin Samuels. And he sent me a post of Kevin Samuels. And it's a new guy right now trying to take Kevin Samuels' place. And he called me back and he said to me, what do you think about Kevin Samuels? And I said to him, the only question that matters watching Kevin Samuels is what I want after what I watched. Is he the type I want to marry? And I said, and that says it all to me. And I told her the answer for me is no. I wouldn't want my daughter to marry him. And that's partially a part of my upbringing, which how my dad told me or showed me, didn't tell me, mirrored for me what men should be. That was by no means perfect. You know, my mom and dad separated when I was 12. And I tell people, you know, the beauty of experience lets you look back on things and see it from a different light. But I tell people one of the things I knew my dad did not do.
Testing 1, 2.
Was my dad never let us go without. He never let us not have access to him. We had access to him at all times. He never undermined my mom's authority in the house. And they were in 2 separate households. Matter of fact, he reinforced it, because just because he wasn't in the household didn't mean that he come over and say that he was disrespect your mom. And you know, even as I watch some of the kids now, and I watch particularly, I always try to look at and say, what do certain groups seem to be susceptible to? And you know, my generation, I just, and a lot of mistakes that are catching up with us. And the misogyny in our community comes from, and I can almost remember it clearly, and I tell people, for me, it comes from when the song Bitch by Too Short came out. I can remember that song coming out, and I can remember bringing in called my best friend. He had a Scirocco, and some of our friends who women driving down the street singing the song Bitch. And they knew the words to it. I remember how confused I was at 19 or 20 watching 3 women sing the song Bitch, because I couldn't separate them just singing a song with beat. Is this how they feel? We hear you, bro. I'm on mute. And then it just escalated from there. You know, it escalated with when C. Dolores Tucker came out and said these words and in this music that they start becoming prevalent, they start becoming the norm. Oh no, we're not. Yeah, these words that start becoming the norm are going to be the detriment. It's going to cause great harm to our community, and I'm seeing it now, 40 years later, and how some of the young men, not just young, because some of them are no longer young, some of them are in their 30s and their 40s, think about African American women. And to sit here and not have this conversation, and again, I watched Morehouse guys on the Morehouse pages argue this point that it hasn't had an effect. I'm like, you've got to be goddamn kidding me. What world do you live in? Yeah, I always use this one metric for African American men when I'm in their groups and we had these conversations. And I say, if we're in a group and they brought their wives, their girlfriends, or let's say we're having a bourbon tasting or a card game or whatever, and these conversations and they're really come up, I go into that room right now and ask all those women in that room if they feel protected by African American men. And I put a caveat on it. And I say, if they pause before they answer, you got a problem. You have a problem. You have a problem. If they pause before they answer, you have a problem. If my daughters come up to me and say, which has happened many times, I could tell you a situation right on the corner because I'm fairly well known in my neighborhood now. Because I'm one of those people. I'm like my mom. I give away money all the time, to where it's a lot of the unhoused people know me. If my daughter could say, "Hey, if I'm at a gas station," yeah, I can hear you. If I'm at a gas station, I'm approached by a African American man or male, or I'm pumping my gas. They ask for my number. I off top don't say no. I give them the wrong number. I'm like, what? And my daughter said, because if I say no, the stream of the word bitches that's going to come behind me telling them no will make me feel unsafe. That's nuts. That's nuts. Because I grew up in an era where you knew you might get no. We can't hear you at all now. We can't even hear you. Let me do this. Say something now, Kenneth. You on mute. You muted yourself.
Yeah, I'm muted. Can you hear me now?
Okay. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, y'all. New computer.
Now,
he just turned 60.
You know what?
He just had his big birthday party.
Fell down.
Yeah. For the last 10 minutes, he's been on here talking loud as if we're not in the room. What the hell going on? What's going on?
My phone fell and hit the mute button on my computer. It hit the mute button on my computer, and that just threw everything off.
Hey y'all, we are really, really falling far when this man got on here and blamed his phone. He said his phone fell and hit his computer. The mighty have fallen.
Figured out what it was. I just figured out what the problem was. Okay.
Hey, look. Now. Every time you put those earphones on, your voice goes in and out. Every time you take those earphones off, we can hear you clearly. Every time. So Andrew said, yes, been there.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. If we turn this into a T-Mobile commercial.
That's actually Verizon. See, your old ass don't even know where it came from. What I was gonna say? Oh, in response to what Angie said, that's the mentality, and that's not a new phenomenon. I remember brothers back in the '80s saying that. You know, one woman giving them, I ain't like your ass, and blah blah blah, all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, it is that mentality of men cussing out women because they won't give them the number or something like that, and then they turn on them. I ain't want your ugly ass anyway, and all this stuff and all that. And I always wonder, like, why is that your response? And in the settings
why is
that I
was your response?
Yeah, my settings the settings that this happened in, club settings and all that, women always outnumbered men. So the odds are in your favor. So why would you go off on this one woman who don't want you when there's 10 other women out there that you can do? Now the 10 other women don't want you because they saw your response to the one.
Right.
The odds are in our favor, fellas. I say this. Listen, I'm gonna say this.
I say something. And you can't do that around me.
Yeah,
but you can't do that around me. You cannot do that around me. You cannot do
that
around me. And I won't get into a fight for that. You cannot do that around me. I don't give a damn who you
are. My whole thing is
you cannot do that around me.
These young guys that do this, these young guys that do stuff like this, they have been conditioned to do this. I mean, I in my entire life, if a one woman
some old guys out there
I am not right. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this is not what I'm saying. This in my entire life, I've never had to been one to say, "Oh, you ain't shit nowhere." I've never said that because to me that's foreign. That is foreign. Maybe it's because I had in my lifetime, in my family, I was raised by strong Black women. So in that way, I respect women because I respect if you say no, okay, good. Have a nice night. So to me, rejection, nobody likes to be rejected. That hurts my feelings to get rejected, period. For anything. Nobody likes to be rejected. But your yeah, but your reaction should not be. Your reaction should not be to cuss the woman out because you get rejected. If a job, like you apply for a job and they rejected you, now, would you go up to that job and say, I ain't want to work for you motherfuckers anyway, fuck y'all? You wouldn't do that. Well, let's say this. If you apply for a job that's going to pay you a significant amount of money, because if you go if you pay you some real money. Now that $5 an hour job, you might do that. But if you trying to make $60,000-$70,000 a year working with one agency or one department or whatever, and they reject you, you're not gonna do that because you still trying to get another job. You still trying to go higher. And I've always said this, and not, maybe it's me, but sometimes when a woman sees you with another woman, that woman you rejected also comes back to you and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Because I've had that happen to me.
We're not changing it to a relationship show.
Yeah, I know. Well, you are. This is a relationship show because that is a part of relationships. That's a part of relationships. And somebody buy me a drink anyway. Tell me you have a good night.
It is so prevalent. It's not. It's so.
Hold up, Angie. What do you mean they told you to have a good night? They bought you the drink and you rejected them, and then they said, have a good night after that. That's what you're saying?
I want to tell this story. This is not my story, but it was so.
Oh, it's not your story. It's not your story. Okay, go ahead.
No. She put this on social media. She's a highly successful woman. This is on Spelman Morehouse page, and she was open about it, but she didn't say the guy's name. And she was talking about, and she was saying he was a Q, and somebody had set her up on this date after her divorce. And she was talking about they went to this Q function. She went with him, and she said they were at this function, and she was just being normal. She was speaking because she went with him. She wanted to be, she the first time she went out on a date with him, and he was around his frat brothers, and she wanted to put on a good impression for him, and that she was speaking to guys. As he was introduced, she would speak, she would have a conversation with him, and she said, at the end of the night, when it was time for him to take her home, he got in the car with her, and she said he stopped 2 blocks from her house, and he was an attorney, a Q, and reached over and grabbed her by her throat and told her the next time he takes her out, she better not be talking to so many men while he's with her. And she said she sat there frozen in fear. Frozen in fear. He had pulled off on the side of the road. And she said, I thought I was doing everything right. I thought I was being gracious. I was talking, I was making a good impression. And she said the only thing she could think of was, how does she get out of this car? How do I calm him down enough just to get home? And the only thing I could think of at the time was, and I think somebody posted on the page, was a Q came on the page and said, will you give me his name? And it was the way he posted the statement. It's like, you need to give me his name,
so we can check him.
That's what he told her. You need to give me his name. And what I always tell, I've told my son this, I told other people this, I tell you this. The danger that women face is different than the danger men face. When women get mad, you can say, can they kill me? Of course they can kill me, if they go and get a gun or a knife or anything like that. But it is very few women who can kill me on a physical level without a weapon. But 99% of the men can kill a woman with his physical strength.
It's that,
and you have to make the juice. Let me say this. I know we don't like having this conversation. I know I've been told that this is a radical conversation from me. Sometimes you have to make the juice not be worth the squeeze. And I always use the Nation of Islam as an example. You're not going to say anything to their women derogatory, not just because they typically.
Well, hold on. Now, let's say this now. There's domestic violence in the Muslim world.
I didn't say that. No, I'm not talking about you. Listen, hear the point.
Now you're saying somebody from the outside. So I hear what I'm saying.
Hear what I said. I what I'm talking about. Wait, that's what I'm talking about. All I'm talking about. That's all I'm talking. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking I'm not. I know Nation of Islam members. I've put up Nation of Islam members in my house. They'll tell you that they live with me. I know there's domestic violence. What I'm saying to you is, you from the outside are not going to call one of their women a bitch. You're not. That's an absolute. It will not happen. I've never seen it happen in my lifetime. I've never seen a woman in Nation of Islam who comes in the garb, who goes in the gas station, makes mistakes. They make mistakes too, where somebody will utter an expletive at her because they know that the juice is not worth the squeeze. They know it. I'm not talking about within inside the Nation of Islam. I'm talking about the perception they get outside. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I know that there's domestic violence.
Well, see, the thing is this. Because they protect their
Sorry,
women.
Keisha, I didn't mean to trigger you. Sorry, Keisha, I didn't mean to trigger you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you, cuz. I'm sorry.
What I was gonna say was, because they protect their women from outsiders, do they protect their women from the insiders? That's the thing. And we know that let's say from a Western perspective, they don't, from a Western perspective, and that's the perspective that we're coming from, a Western perspective. They don't. They have in the Muslim world, they have more oppressive laws than for women than they do in the in the Muslim world, they have more oppressive laws than they do in the Western world. So I hear what the point you're making coming from the outside, but we're talking about the overall thing, because we're talking about personal relationships, and the violence with that. And although we were talking about at this particular moment, we were talking about strangers calling women that, disrespecting women and things of that nature. That part that's what we were talking about. But I think we can't, let's say this, we can't make distinctions. Let's say that. We can't make distinctions, because if a man says that to a woman in public, what do you think he's doing in private?
Oh, absolutely.
And if a man is doing, just because a man doesn't do it in public, because a lot of times, in a lot of cases, from the outside, it looks like, hey, that's a happy family, or that's a happy relationship and all of that. And we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We have no idea of what type of how people act when the spotlight's not on them. Which is a lot of times.
I agree. Now, I agree, but I will say something that Stacy said last week, and also I want to address something that my cousin just said, which is, I think, a large time. I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna come back. Just bear with me. Sometimes as men, when we try to have these conversations, we're really trying to have honest dialogue and trying to be open to the lessons that are trying to be taught to us. And I know my cousin didn't mean, hey, you triggered me, but I think sometimes we're reluctant to have the conversation for the exact reason that she just stated. When you say outside dialogue, one thing, Stacy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Angie said this last week too. Women just have different conversations than men when it comes to one another. And most women tell a girlfriend when things are bad in the household. Most of the times, like Stacey, I think you said this last week. If she put cameras in the house, she had already told her girlfriend. And the question becomes, does pride become too deadly? You don't want anybody to know that your household is not this picture perfect household, and you haven't told anybody that may be able to help you step in or provide you some protection, or, as Angie said, help you get out, because they don't know. They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue that you're in danger. They don't have a clue to check your husband or your boyfriend. it's funny because one of my guys came to work today. He was late, and I asked him, "Why are you late?" And he started telling this story about, and he's a guy that I'll speak up in a second. He started telling the story about, man, I got to ride home last night. I had to make a friend of mine pull over because she was seeing this guy got extremely drunk, and he started becoming kind of aggressive. So I had to get out, pull over, and say, "Hey, man, you got to get out the car." I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I put him out the car." "Did you put him out her car?" He was like, "Yeah, I put him out her car." I was in the back seat. I put him in her car, and he said I videotaped it. And he showed me the video. He's like, and he was becoming increasingly aggressive, Miss Land. And he was like, "I know what you're gonna tell me, Miss Land. You know you." He's like, "No." He's like, I told him, "No, we." I said, "No, go to his apartment first." And he got there. He's like, "Well, man, she going with me." He said, "I got a car." I said, "Bro, you got like 10 seconds to get the fuck up out this car. Well, it's gonna be a problem. You're already sloppy drunk, so you got to get out." But she not riding home with you.
Now, the other part of it is this. Did she go back to the guy the next day? Because
I don't know. It just happened last night. That's what I asked him.
This is what I always say.
Yep, I know what you're gonna say.
When people are drunk, their true self comes out.
Right. I knew. Yep.
I've always believed that alcohol is a truth serum. Your true nature, who you are, truly comes out once you're drunk. And I've said that before, and people think I'm kidding when I'm saying it. No, I see it all the time. And we always use alcohol as an excuse for bad behavior, when all it is, that's a true person. When you see these people out here cussing out black people, and they calling the N-word and doing all this other stuff, being aggressive toward black people and all this stuff, and their excuse is, "Oh, well, I was drunk and that's not who I am." That is who you are. It is who you are. So if this guy's acting toward her and you saying he was extremely intoxicated, he was drunk, and he's acting aggressive, that's truly who he is. And he's probably been like that with her for a while, and she just never told anybody. Your man just happened to see that, and because he's somebody of integrity, he nipped it in the bud. But she needs to leave that dude alone. Especially if she driving the car, that means he ain't got no car. So there's no financial thing with him.
Yeah.
There's no financial incentive for her to be with him. Sounds like she got her shit together and he don't have his shit together. Hell, she was probably buying all the damn drinks. But I digress. We need to start with younger generation and stop this generational curse of violence in our community. On all levels, not just domestic violence, but on all levels. We need to stop it. We can't sit back and continue. We can't allow this to continue in our community, because it's going to be to the detriment of our community on all levels. Violence is violence. Doesn't make a difference. It's personal, domestic, whatever, random violence. We need to stop it. And we got to start with younger kids and teach them the right way to do this. The right way to deal with conflict. And I one of my students said something to me. He said last week, he said, "You angry?" I said, "No, I'm not angry." Because I went off on them about something. He said, "You angry today? What's wrong?" I was like, "I'm not angry." I said, if I'm angry, I'll walk away. If I walk away and I'm silent, that's when I'm angry. And I'm walking away because I know I don't want my anger to overtake my actions. So that's why I walk away. And if I get into an argument with somebody and I walk away from them, that means I'm starting to get angry, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with the consequences of that. So I just walk away. And we need to teach people to walk away. Bottom line, walk away from a fight. Walk away from an argument. Because in the grand scheme of things, you walking away can save your life and their life. Not just literally, but figuratively. Because if they injure you or kill you, they can go to prison. You do the same thing, you can go to prison. So their life is over, and so is yours for the most part. You might still be alive, but you don't have a life. So that's what we need to teach people.
So Kenneth, I want you to address something right quick. I want to go. We're already over. I want to try to spend 10 minutes on this. Here's what I want to ask you. So Sam Altman has had a Molotov cocktail thrown at his house, and apparently somebody tried to hurt him yesterday.
I don't give a shit.
Somebody tried. Shit. Yeah. Exactly. So my question to you is, and I don't know if you've seen Hassan Piker. I think you ought to watch him. He's like this progressive Joe Rogan guy, and he's been saying stuff that I've been thinking, and which is, why do you want me to be civil to you when your actions are uncivil to me? And what makes you think? What makes some of these people think, these tech bros, think that you're telling people that you're going to harm them? Like you're literally saying them, like Alex Berg from Palantir, who's interracial, by the way, y'all. His mother's black. That you're literally telling people that your technology is going to harm them, and you don't expect pushback or people to turn and go, wait a minute, you're really going to hurt my family by doing this, and I didn't ask for it, and you think that I'm just going to let you get away with it. I'm just amazed at that people don't think that would be the natural response, is that I'm gonna let you just come steamroll me. That you're just gonna do what you're gonna want to do, and it's going to have a profound effect on my life.
I really and truly don't give a shit about none of them motherfuckers. I could care less what happens to them. That to be quite honest, the thought of them, somebody throwing a Molotov cocktail at somebody's house or whatever the fuck they did to him and all that shit. Next time have better aim. Fuck them. I don't care. I don't care about them. I really don't. I don't get. There's people in this world that I could give less than two shits about. When I saw that a few weeks ago when the guy did that, I smiled. I was like, shit. Say what?
They're gonna call me and you radical now. They're gonna say we form in terrorism. That's what they gonna
listen, it is what it is. I don't give a shit about them people, what them happened to them. They don't give a shit about me. They wouldn't lose 1 ounce of sleep, wouldn't even think twice about me. Oh, that's fucked up. And they'll keep it moving. Well, hell, I didn't even gonna say that. Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm being real honest about that shit. I'm being real honest. I don't give a shit about somebody trying to kill him. You shouldn't be doing the shit that you do. Stop that bullshit, then people will leave you the fuck alone. When you were anonymous and nobody knew who the fuck you were, you were sitting back there just making your beans, did nobody give a fuck about you? They didn't. Nobody cared. Nobody knew who you were. Nobody tried to kill you. Now that you done put your shit out there and you talking all this bullshit, now you wonder why you getting smoked. Because you started the fucking fire. That's why you getting the smoke. Shut the fuck up and move on. Like I'll give you a perfectly good example. Remember years ago when Chick-fil-A came out and they went out against something with gay stuff.
Their family is very they don't believe in gay marriage. They were really
whatever it was that they would say, but they came out and made that statement. The president, the CEO at that time, made that statement, and there was a backlash. Now, mind you, people still went to Chick-fil-A, but they did lose some business. Have you heard shit from Chick-fil-A about that since then? They learned that goddamn lesson. Yeah, they learned the lesson. We ain't saying shit about those social issues no more, and they don't. They don't say nothing about social issues because they realize, even though it only hurt a little bit of our business, it still hurt our business. So if you shut the fuck up, nobody won't know your politics. If you want to give money to certain groups, you want to play both sides, play both sides. But shut the fuck up.
It's different.
What I'm saying is, if you don't want the smoke, don't invite the smoke.
They've been so blatant about the smoke.
Right.
I mean, they've been so blatant about the smoke.
So that's why I don't care what happens to them.
Alex Berg, who's the CEO of Palantir, was at a conference earlier this week, where he started talking about their software being used as a part of the software that is level Gaza. And a Palestinian lady in the audience told him, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to. And he said they were terrorists. He said, I'm not going to let you stand up here while you killing my people with your technology and label us all as terrorists. And that's what you use to come and kill my people. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, dude, you couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. You lucky she didn't come there and punch you in your nose that you're that blatant with what you're saying. As if those people, like Stacey said, are not human. That you're that arrogant. And I want to go, I'm trying to be respectful of Kenneth, y'all. Negro, you in the same boat. You still black.
Oh, he think his money. He got
that. You still black. You don't come around. Race. You don't come around no brothers talking that shit you talking. You don't that shit you just talking. You got Messiah agents guarding you, bro. It's way more of us. And all we've ever said was, man, just leave us the hell alone. And now you on this side.
Everybody keep getting all these. We talking about Mossad agents protecting them. Them motherfuckers ain't bulletproof. that shit. They ain't none of y'all bulletproof. The thing is this: you sit here and talk all that shit, and you think that somebody's gonna save your life. No, that's not how it works, bro. If they want to get you, they'll get you. If they want to get you, they will get you. But hold on.
But Kenneth,
I need to put something more important, something more important that's actually going on now that we have to deal with.
Okay, go.
I looking at the ads, these whatchamacallit ads on TV, and it's so funny. And somebody said this on Facebook, and I posted it last week, earlier in the week. How what's that dude name? That racist Rick Jackson, who's running for governor.
Rick Jackson, yes,
yeah, he's running for governor. First thing he's talked about is how he grew up in the projects and he grew up poor. And he said one day I was in an orphanage and somebody gave me $100. They just walked up and gave me $100. You never know how a little bit of money will change somebody's life. Motherfucker, that was 60-something years ago. You mean to tell me some stranger just walked up into an orphanage and gave just you $100? We supposed to believe that bullshit. But that's neither here nor there. He talks about how he grew up in the projects. And he in the commercial that he went against Keisha Lance Bottoms, he was talking about how she let his projects burn. Like, motherfucker, you hadn't lived in the project since you was a kid. You're a multi-millionaire. And you talking about some projects that don't even. Oh, this is fact. He grew up he lived in Techwood Projects. Techwood Projects been closed since the 90s. So how did Keisha Lance Bottoms, who was mayor of Atlanta back in 2000, let's say, or 2020, how did she let Techwood Projects burn when Techwood?
16 to 20.
Yeah. How did she let Techwood Projects burn when Techwood Projects had been closed down since the 90s? That's the bullshit that they throw at us. And he's throwing that, putting that with black people, talking about, well, I grew up in the projects too. I'm just like y'all. Motherfucker, you not like us. You a Trump supporter. You and what's that other dude name? Something Jones, Burt Jones. Y'all, both of y'all sucking on Trump's nuts. Yeah. Both of y'all sucking on his nuts. And excuse the graphic nature, y'all. I apologize, but that's the first thing that came in my mind. Anyway, y'all both sitting there trying to get curry his favor when this man is destroying the country, and you want black people to vote for you? You must be out your goddamn rabbit ass mind. This shit, it's ridiculous what these politicians are doing, and they're sitting here banking on black people not voting for a black woman who cares about our community for his punk ass who don't give a two shits about black community. He don't care about us. He don't care if any of us live or die, but he wants us to vote for him. If we die the day after we voted, we vote for him, that motherfucker's happy as hell. But that's the type of shit that they're doing with us. And that shit is, that commercial, I don't know if it's running in Atlanta, but it's running here in Augusta. It's running here in Augusta. We have got to, our people have got to be more, because that's the same type of misdirection bullshit that Trump was running on us. That black people believe, oh yeah, Trump gave me a check. Trump didn't give you shit. You know, well, I got that stimmy from Trump. You didn't get shit from Trump. But that's the belief that they give us. And we're supposed to believe that some mysterious stranger gave him $100 60 years ago, and that he lived in Techwood projects when Techwood, back in the day when he was a kid, Techwood wouldn't even allow black people to live in there. When projects were first designed, they did not allow black people to live in the projects. Those were for military veterans coming home from World War II. So when you were a kid, the projects, which were new apartments that they built specifically for veterans, white veterans, back in the 1950s, those did not allow black people to live in them. And you expect us to believe like you one of us. I'm just like y'all. Motherfucker, you ain't shit like us. We need to stop letting people spit in our face and tell us it's raining, because that's what we're doing. I really, truly hope whoever the Democratic candidate is, I'm voting for Keisha Lance Bottoms because I like Keisha, and I think we need not anything against anybody else, because all of them have pretty much the same platform. Let's be real. Every Democrat out there is basically saying the exact same thing. They may word it differently, but their platforms are identical for the most part. I haven't seen anybody that came up with something radical and new or different than the others. So whichever one wins, I'm going to vote for him, period. But in the primary, I'm supporting Keisha because I like her, how she stood up to Trump. That's what I want. And I like Michael Thurman too. Michael Thurman is a very effective guy. But my thing with Michael Thurman is not that he's not effective, but it's time for that we have younger leadership. Because if I had a problem.
Oh, David Scott. Remember David Scott? Remember you had a problem with David Scott?
Yeah.
And we sat there, we talked about it, and you and I both said it's not David Scott, it's people who work up under David Scott.
Right. That are propping him up when that man was gravely ill, and they, instead of them saying, "Hey, go ahead and let retire,"
and proving we were telling the truth. And those right. They didn't want to come home from Washington, just like Dianne Feinstein said. Y'all like the power and the power.
Exact same thing. You want to create, you want to stay in power for the sake of your people do. Your people want to stay in power. They want to keep that job. When it should have been, that man should have been home trying to get better. Just let him retire. He still had all his benefits. Yeah, but you want to keep yourself up there, your proximity to power, and that's so goddamn selfish.
Right.
That's so damn selfish.
Right.
Now I don't know if it was
right. Bro, that's a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was his, and the same thing goes all the way back to what's the Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she was on the Supreme Court. Exact same thing. You want to stay there in power so goddamn bad to the detriment of the country.
Right.
Because you just want to stay there. You want to stay in
James
power.
Clyburn right now.
Well, you know what? I will. One thing about James Clyburn.
James Clyburn right now.
James Clyburn is elderly, but that man is sharp as hell, from what I can tell. Now maybe
he might be sharp.
I agree. But the thing is this: you should be grooming the next generation. That's what you should be doing. Now, if you're still of the right mind and all of that, and you have groomed somebody. In this next 2 years, you need to go ahead and step down. If you got somebody that's groomed,
but see, here's the problem.
Ready. And I'm not saying that you need to hand select somebody, but you need to groom a group of people. You need to groom a group of people. Because a lot of times, another thing that pisses me off, when politicians die, male politicians die, their spouse comes in and tries and spills their spot. like, okay, I'm gonna fill their spot because I'm the wife of Congressman so and so, so I must know what's going on. And that shit happens all the damn time with white politicians. I mean, black ones don't really do that too much. I haven't heard, but or the child of somebody does that, and that happened with Harold Ford and then Harold Ford Jr. Now Harold Ford Jr. was kind of effective, and then for some reason he just fell off.
What I want to say is this: listen, physically, when you start getting to be 85 or 82, the drop off from one year to the next can be so sudden.
And you're right.
I mean,
I
it
agree.
could be you might
the age.
You might be 80. You might be 85 and great today, but 3 months from now, you might be 82, and the drop off is boom.
And that's the problem. You know what I believe. I believe, and this is not, people try to say it's ageism. I don't believe in that the ageism is a thing. When you're a politician, when you reach a certain age, especially if you've been in there for years, there's no reason for you to stay in, because you like it. If you've been in there for years, you worried about your pension. You get a full pension at that point. I think it 6 terms you get a full pension from lifetime health insurance, a full pension and all that from the United States government if you're in Congress. So what's the point of you staying? That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene left. She had whatever the minimum limit to get that pension, lifetime pension. She reached it and she's like, I'm out. That's why she left. It ain't got nothing to do with her disagreement. Well, maybe her disagreement made it go quicker, but she knew that, hey, I'm disagreeing with him and all this. Let me go ahead and get my out. I can make just as much money on my pension and maybe do a consulting with some other one of the networks or something like that. Be a talking head on one of the networks. She'll make up that money and still have the same influence she already has. Still make the same money, because that's all they want is money. But these politicians, I think when you get into your late 70s, I think that's when you should start transitioning out. If not before, if your mental faculties start to decline. And I was to see that. Okay, Harriet, who won that debate in your opinion? That's what I meant to ask. That's what I wanted to ask you, actually. Who won that debate? Because I forgot all about it.
I've been told. I want to hear what Harriet's answer is. I know somebody that went to the debate, and they said Michael Thurman was impressive. They said they were impressed with Jeff Duncan. Said Jeff Duncan was impressive. Jason Estebe's mom had passed, so he couldn't show up, so he gave a recorded statement. And then they asked me who I was voting for, and I said I'm voting for harm reduction. And I referenced something you and I have said on the show, which is, I said, Kenneth and I always say the problem with Black politicians out of Atlanta is they do the Atlanta strategy, which is I just got to lock down DeKalb County and Fulton County. And I said, Kenneth, I said many times, no, you need to go visit those counties where those Black folks are not seen or heard. Mm-hmm. And you need to energize them. And all you got to do is go visit. Because that's what we said when Kamala first came out. She went to Daugherty County. She didn't come to Atlanta. She went to Daugherty. And what it signaled was that I see how important you all are. And I don't think they have the name recognition nor the money. And you could tell when people have money, they put out yard signs. You could tell when they're well-funded, they put out yard signs. Mm-hmm. A lot of people trying to run a Jasmine Crockett campaign where they're just going to be on social media. Well, still a whole bunch of yard signs do it. Yard signs do a good job. Thurman is smart, but Thurman is 73, and he won statewide. Thurman is 72 or 73, and he won statewide.
He was older than that.
Yeah, he won. I'll look
he was the last Democrat to win the statewide election,
right?
And that was 20 years ago.
That was before some of these kids were born.
That was 20 years ago. So right. He like I said, I like Michael Thurman. Actually, I've met him personally. He's very personable. He's very effective. As the DeKalb County CEO, he was effective as hell.
He's 73. A lot of people didn't like him as a DeKalb County, but you know that goes with everything. So some like you, some don't.
Well, because he gets stuff done. I mean, I haven't heard anything negative about it, but there's always that possibility that somebody doesn't like somebody because of whatever, because of some policies they have, and the policy may be a good policy. It just not good to you because it may hurt or harm you a little bit, and we don't like to be harmed. We don't want to feel the pain.
Look,
but
man,
as far as I know, he was an effective leader in DeKalb County. I when I lived in DeKalb, I saw him getting the stuff done, and he's very personable. And something I didn't know, he went to Payne. I didn't know he went to Payne until I met him. Did not know that. So he has this connection too.
He does. I'm gonna say this, and I gotta go. Which is this? I don't know if I'm willing to swing for the fences, miss, and give them another bite at the apple to make me worse than what I was. And so when people say, "Where are you leaning?" and I go, "Well, I'm leaning. I'm back to the old school Ida B. Wells thinking, which is I'm leaning what's going to cause me the less harm. And I need somebody to stop this damn damage, like SB 369. I need somebody in there that says, no, that's the most unconstitutional bullshit we ever put down. We're going to do this in 5 counties. The one?
Yes. Yeah, I was about to talk about that. That in case y'all didn't know, we got to explain what that is. Expect that. This is the thing. There's a bill that's been that's going toward Kemp, where it says that there have nonpartisan elections, but only in DeKalb, Gwinnett, Cobb, and
Gwinnett.
Fulton. Yeah, DeKalb.
All cities with black district female attorneys.
Yeah. So, and this is the thing. This is the crazy thing about it. Why are they only doing it to those counties? It's all black. What he said is all black district attorneys and
female district attorneys.
Female district attorneys, and I know 2 of them. I know 2 of them. 2 out of the 5 I know I've met. I've met, and they're very effective district attorneys. All of them are very effective, but they're trying to usurp the black community or the will of the people in those communities. And because they have black district attorneys, and for the most part, in Fulton and DeKalb, it's majority black. Gwinnett, kind of, sort of. I'm not sure about Cobb, if they're predominantly black, but they have significant black communities in all of them, and they have black district attorneys. And a matter of fact, hold on, let's see. Fulton, DeKalb. I think all of them may be black women too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're all black women. All black women.
Okay, all right, they're all black women.
All black.
They're all black women. So why are they trying to only do that in those 5
it's
counties?
It's a concerted effort to go after the 92%.
Right. And with that point,
because it's a nationwide concerted effort to go after the 92%.
Yeah. So this is the thing where, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, to not even just to the same level of not to equate the two, but it makes sense. This is where we start protecting black women again. That we need to do that. We need to step up and vote no on that, and ensure that Kemp does that. And this is the thing. If Kemp signs that, it's not going to take effect because it's going to be, they've already prepared lawsuits on this. Because why would you, of all the counties, why would you only do those? That's racial discrimination right there. That's total racial discrimination, because you're only going after the ones that have five black women. Those are the only DAs in the state of Georgia that have women as black women as district attorneys that I know of. I know of. There's only 5. So why are you going after black women? So all of this is all goes 90%. Back to all of this thing with Donald Trump. Fonnie Willis going after Donald Trump and his sycophant, and also too, Burt Jones was one of those people that Fonnie Willis had indicted for that Trump shit. So that's another reason why we
Unidentified
can't let that
co-conspirator.
fool win. We cannot let that fool win. He was one of those people that did the one of the co-conspirators in Trump's case in Fulton County. And he should have got indicted. Well, he did get indicted, actually. She went after him. So he's the one that led the thing to get rid of Fonnie Willis. So if you think that this shit is just some out of the blue idea that somebody came up with, no, this is not something out of the blue. It's because Fonnie Willis had the nerve to go after Donald Trump and his punk ass sycophants that live in Georgia. She had the audacity, a black woman, to go after the most powerful white man in the world. She had that audacity to do that. And that's why they're coming after her and the other 4 black women that are district attorneys in the Atlanta area. That's the reason why. And yeah, I agree with you, Harry. We need to have a governor that's not going to stop. That's going to stop trying to kick people off the voting rolls. That's going to stop trying to erode our voting rights. It's going to actually do something to help the people legitimately, and not some little band-aid or whatever, little something they do every once in a while to make people think they're a good guy. No, we need somebody that's consistent. But man, it's 11:42, bro. We need to go ahead and get out this thing. I got stuff I got to do. I got to fix the toilet.
All right, look, y'all.
I'm being Mr. Handyman here.
Yeah, thanks
ladies.
For joining us
I'm a handyman. I'm a handyman now. I'm fixing toilets.
We gonna go, or you gonna run your mouth?
God damn, boy.
Say
that's
goodbye.
That's why your wife made you look bad on the internet the other day. Listen, y'all, have a good week. Early voting starts on Monday. Make sure you go out and vote for your candidate.
Don't go there.
Make sure you go out and vote and take somebody with you. Early voting always looks good for us. So go vote. Start early voting on Monday. Take somebody with you and take a picture of it, y'all, and post it on your social media. Please do that. Please post it on your social media that you voted. Maybe it'll get more people to do it. I'm trying to get some of my students that are 18 that's registered to vote, get them to go out and vote. I may try to do it where we take them do a field trip with the seniors and take them to vote, the ones that's registered. Anyway, y'all have a good week. See y'all next week. Deuces. Oh, one more thing. Hey, if you live in Augusta or you're thinking about coming to Augusta, there's a first Friday game night coming up next Friday in Augusta. I'm gonna post it on my page. Post that event up on my page. I've already done it, but I'm gonna do it again just for those of you who haven't seen it before, or those of you who may have forgotten Angie, Teresa, specifically you. I won't hear nothing from you if you don't come. I won't hear nothing from you. But anyway, y'all have a good week. See y'all next week. Deuces.
Thanks, y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. See you next week.